First off, I just want to say how excited I was to be on this trip, and I want to thank Jason and Coach Stoops and Mitch just for being able to throw all this together, and for us to have the opportunity to be able to go and sort of just give back a little bit to people of Ethiopia. Had a really, really good time over that, and I'm sure these guys will concur. And it was a long ride over there, but we got to do a lot of things throughout the week. For example, my biggest impact thing that I got to go through was we did a feeding program on in Tonto Mountain there, where we felt like 5 miles, but it was probably closer to a mile and a half, 2 miles, something like that. And we got to go up there and we got to walk with some locals around there and feed roughly 300 kids or so in a feeding program there, where they got to eat some rice and bread. And but that was just amazing, seeing all those kids and just how well behaved they were, how disciplined they were, how selfless they were. We went up there and fed them all, and ended up getting to where there was 3 left at the end that didn't get food, and we gave them some snacks to make sure they got food as well. But just the process of being able to give a actual hungry kid food was something that will never leave my mind, and just seeing their face light up, see how grateful they were just to be able to get a meal. You saw there at the beginning when we fed them that there was a couple kids that would even pour all their food onto one plate and share from the same plate because of the different serving sizes that they had. But just to see kids nothing, that this may be one of their only meals of the week, and most definitely one of their only hot meals of the week, just be so selfless to pour all their food and eat together as a community. That was amazing. Seeing them help out the person next to them and feed the person next to them, give a little bit of food off their plate, that was amazing too, just to see that they don't have anything and they're willing to sacrifice everything for their friends and their family and people up on that hill. Another thing going up onto in Tonto, we got to see a lot of people that worked off the mountain. The kids we were actually walking up the hill with, they live on the top of the hill and walk down the hill every single day for school. And while me, Calvin, and Boogie were over here, Jason were sweating really bad all the way through our shirts, just winded, breathing hard and everything. And these little kids were just walking right up next to us, not even a bead of sweat on their forehead. And it was absolutely insane. And I said, man, I'm really out of shape after I saw that. But the fact that they do that every single day just for the opportunity to go to school really humbled me a lot. We saw women that would create these bundles of sticks that they would carry on their back all the way down the hill every single day. They said it would take 6 hours to make the bundle of stacks, and they could be upwards of 300 pounds. And they would make these bundles of sticks, put them on their back, walk all the way down the hill, sell them, and walk all the way back up on the hill for the night to make little to no money all week. And that was amazing. And he couldn't do it, so that speaks a lot for these little 5-0 women that were, had these 12-foot wide bundles of wood on their back, carrying them down and selling them on the hill. But sort of what I took away from that trip, and just being able to go up onto that mountain and do that feeding program, is just how good we have it over here, and just the luxury of just being able to get up in the morning and get in our AC'd car. There's no air conditioning over there anywhere, and just be able to drive to school, that we're getting, to play at the University of Kentucky for free on a scholarship, and being able to have that, and being able to have a hot meal anytime we want it, being able to eat as much as we want, that just, it really humbles you that we have it so good, and these kids are still so selfless that they will share maybe their only meal of the week with somebody else. But again, I'd like to thank Jason and Stoops and Barnhart for throwing this together and giving us the opportunity, just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something that I never would have had to been able to go on if it wasn't for UK football to let me do it. But I'll go ahead and pass it to the next person.
First, I just want to thank Jason, Coach Stoops, and Mitch for the experience. It was my first time out the country, so just that experience alone was something that I remember forever. But the most impactful thing for me on the trip was going to an area called Kora. It's surrounding a trash dump in Ethiopia. And basically the area, everybody in that area lives off the trash dump. Their food, their housing, everything they get comes from the trash dump mainly. So, they said when the airport drops off their trash, that's like a 5-star meal for them, because the airport has the best food. So seeing those kids and those families have to live off of that, and seeing the trash dump and seeing that's where they get their main source of food was kind of crazy to me. So like growing up, I've complained to my parents, or I don't want McDonald's, I want this, I want, just the stuff like that. Seeing them have to do that makes it very hard for me to ever complain about a meal or anything like that ever again. So just the experience as a whole was very eye-opening. They live completely different out there, but at the same time, everyone has a smile on their face. They don't have much to be happy about from our eyes, but everybody we came across was excited to be there, excited to see us, and walked around with a smile on their face every day. So just being there makes me very grateful to be in the situation I'm in, and just every day I think about how grateful I am and how blessed I am to be in the position I am.
I would like to thank Jason, also Ms. Kelly with Ordinary Hero. That's the organization that allowed us to come stay in the guest house and also participate in these different activities. My biggest takeaway also came from CORE. CORE translates to the village of the forgotten, so it's people go there that have certain disabilities, diseases, just other various things. So as Boog said, they live off a landfill, so it supports pretty much everybody in the village. My biggest takeaway from that was just a sense of love, like God's love, and just love in general. So these people don't have many resources. So for me, I think that would be a very daunting task, but to them, they allocated every single resource, from anything they find in the trash dump to build their homes, food, just anything that they can use, medicine if they can find it, just anything. And I thought that was very powerful. Even in the most adverse circumstances, everyone seemed genuinely happy. It was just love in general. So if someone could help the next person, they would. We fed kids. The kids would feed their friends before they ate themselves, which I thought that was very powerful, because myself, I know that I would have a selfish sense in me. I would eat first before I fed my friends. So I thought that was very powerful to me. And then it just gave us a chance to give back, and just for people to see us, and we could brighten their days. Just something small, just spending time with them, just bringing them food, just really impacted their lives. And just another pile onto that, we also took some kids out of CORE to a movie, which we don't really speak Amharic at all. We learned maybe 10 words a piece, so just some small, but they couldn't understand anything that we did, but just us taking them out of the city. They never left the village into the city. We took them to a movie, so we saw Avengers Endgame, which that's a pretty cool movie for somebody to see that first movie, and it was so powerful just to see. So we had little buddies, so each one of us had someone. So my buddy just was his face just lit up every time, when he saw me and he was with me, he wouldn't, they hold hand as a sign of affection. So he was just holding my hand, just very excited the whole movie, and it was so great to be able to pour love back into them and just be able to do that. And it was just a wonderful experience that I wouldn't have got any other way. It really is an eye-opener. It changes your perspective. It gives you a perspective that no way I could have gotten unless I went to Ethiopia. So again, I just want to thank Jason, Coach Stoops, just everybody in just administration, just for allowing us to go, because it's an honor to be able to go. So to be selected, it felt great. So I just want to thank everybody.
Got questions for the guys?
You mentioned you could not speak their language. They couldn't speak yours, but they understand smiles and they understand hugs. So what satisfaction in life, 20 years from now, that you gave to those kids that you'll remember? for any of the players.
I mean, this is something that those kids are going to remember forever. And we sort of joked with, Jason, it's like a fish story. It's going to keep on getting bigger and better for the upcoming generations. But, just seeing the smiles on their face and just giving them experience that they may never have again. That's why they support people at Ordinary Hero and stuff, is sort of to break the cycle. But some of these kids, no matter what, it's going to be hard for everyone to break the cycle. So some of these kids are still going to live in Cora for the rest of their life. And who knows, they may have an injury and get forced into Cora. But things like that, but they can always look back and say, we had those big guys come over and we got to go to a movie with them, or we got to go eat dinner with them and we got a Coke and a popcorn. And that's impactful for us because it's sort of like it's leaving a mark and planting a seed for those kids. And rather, and we're not trying to take all the credit for it because Ordinary Hero does a lot and a lot of the other groups do a lot as well. But if we can plant a seed to break that cycle for at least one kid, then I feel like we've done a good work and we've helped out a lot. Because it's just so rare to see somebody break out over there and do something good. We met a guy named Tesfa that ran sort of the Cora area, and when he was young, he lived in Cora. Being able to get sponsored led him to get 2 degrees, including one in computer engineering. And instead of going out and working a real job, he decided to give up everything to help his village and help Cora. And that was powerful, considering you have guys that come to this university and it's not even a thought to, when you get your degree, go and try to get a job in your field. Imagine somebody going and getting a doctorate degree and just abandoning everything to go help his hometown. And that's what Tesfa did. And that's really powerful, considering just how much love and how much care he has for that whole area, and that he's willing to give up everything just to help one person break the cycle at a time. And the more he can do, the better it can do.
For Boogie, you've never been out of the country before. Was it what you thought it would be like?
A little bit of both. My expectations were matched being in Africa. I saw some stuff that I expected to saw, but for the most part, it was new to me. Saw all types of animals, man. It was crazy. Just the flight alone, I've never been on a flight that long, so just the whole experience of going out of the country was great, and I really enjoyed it.
Yep, you talked about, did you have a little bit of an issue with the goats?
Who told you that? Just a little issue,
You were afraid of them?
I wouldn't say afraid. Maybe a word I would use is cautious, That was actually an experience too. Just I've never really dealt with animals like that, but just going over there, we had all these vaccines and stuff like that, so I was very nervous and I didn't know what would happen, so I was a little nervous to touch them, but eventually, I put it up there with Landon, so it's cool.
Did you get the sense, did the kids know what football is? What did they ask questions about?
Yeah, usually when we said football, they thought we played soccer. And so like the kids up on the mountain that we did the feeding program with, we actually pulled out a little football and sort of did like a little demonstration of what we do. It was hard to do with only 3 people, but we gave them like a pretty good little rough threw the ball to Boogie and Calvin tackled him. So, just a basis of it. But I think, they asked them, they said, have you ever watched like football Americano? And they were like, a bunch of them thought yes, and then when we pulled out that actual football, they all just it was just like big old wide eyes, like, what is that? But no, they didn't really, I don't think many knew about what American football was.
Y'all also got the ride camels, is that right?
Yeah, get the right camels.
That camel was screaming. There's not 300-pounders in Ethiopia. That camel was at it.
Just foaming at the mouth. All the time.
So not like riding a horse,
No.
Very good.
The worst thing is that it went and had lunch while we had lunch, and it still wasn't done. I had to write it after lunch, so it was hurting. it was very sore. It just, you can ask them. It got up with, or tried to get up with me a couple of times before I finally did, but it was growling.
Had hydraulics.
When y'all were at the dump a few years ago, there was a landslide and several people were killed. Are there any stories of friends, brothers, siblings, or other things in the tragedy there in the dump?
Actually, we're there. They actually talked about it. It killed roughly like 200 people. So we saw the area where the majority of the homes got wiped out, which was couldn't even put it into words. Like just a loss in that community like that. I couldn't even fathom losing 200 people like in my neighborhood or anything like that. Which they honestly responded. So they helped other people build their homes back up. Like I said, like they have a very strong sense of community. So with that strong sense of community, everybody was able to overcome that situation.
And just like having medical opportunities would have helped, some of them, because Cora is actually an area for people that have illnesses, that have anything from being blind to a broken leg to being in a wheelchair and on crutches, have leprosy. We actually saw quite a few people that had leprosy that were missing all their toe or all their fingers, parts of their hands, stuff like that. And there was one elderly woman that stuck out in my head because I saw her and she had a cane wrapped to her forearm with no hand. And my parents actually had the opportunity to start sponsoring some kids, and we actually sponsor another woman that in her sponsorship picture had no fingers from leprosy. And just that's why they think that landslide killed a bunch of people, because they're blind, they're old, they're crippled, they can't get out of the way, they can't fight themselves out of that trash slide. And it's really tragic to see that happen when some of it could have just been cured with simple medical stuff as antibiotic eye drops or, a simple surgery here in the U.S., but they just don't have it over there.
What is when you hear that people are living in a situation like that where, a dumpster or a landfill is sort of their source of life, how do you absorb that?
It's crazy, because you hear people all around us every day that complain that their house isn't big enough or their car isn't nice enough. And these people, you can't own land over there. It's pretty much a long-term lease. So to see people that live in a trash dump and still have to, we met one woman that still has to pay $40 a month for her section of land in the trash dump. To see that they have to pay for that, and they're living literally around trash with mosquitoes, with flies absolutely everywhere. And this, I'm sure you get used to the stench, but the smell was just something different that you've never experienced. And it's crazy to think that they still have shelter, but that people have such little improvements in their home life, and that they have to literally dig through a trash or find a new tarp in the trash just to make sure rain doesn't leak on them while they sleep. And it's just amazing to know that there's people that, even though they live in that situation, still have that amount of love and care that they do. Because like you said, everywhere, it's just smiles, and it's love, and it's holding hands, and it's hugs. And that's what really, really amazed me about that.
Kelvin, did you know anything at all about Ordinary Hero and what the organization does at all when you started the trip or at all?
I didn't. It honestly was kind of a surprise when we first landed. They picked us up from the airport, so when we got to the guest house where we were staying, so we had like a little team huddle or whatever, so we all introduced ourselves. And she kind of, just through the week, we would have, after we would go out, like maybe it's like 7 o'clock at night, we'd all have like a group huddle, and we'd all talk about our experiences through the day, so we would journal. So all of us journaled like every day so we wouldn't forget anything. So when we got back, just through the week, we kind of honestly became a family. So with Miss Kelly and just other people that were involved, we kind of Wario, Hewitt, Bera, Yard. That was some of the people that were there. So we honestly became a family. So Ms. Kelly kind of gave us her testimony, and then everyone pretty much gave a testimony. So by the end of the week, we became like a very close-knit group. So Ordinary Hero, like how she kind of broke it down is when she first was over there, somebody like said that she was a hero because she would give back, but she was like, no, I'm just an ordinary hero, which is just, it just kind of gives you the power to everybody can do it. Like it's nothing, it's not a hard test. Like it's hard, but it's not something impossible that we all could do it. Like that you could give back. Like just everything honestly counts. So that's what the kind of slogan of Ordinary Hero means. You could be ordinary, but you can also help people. Like you don't have to be like somebody like a polarizing figure. You could just be someone normal like me and you, like just being able to give back.
Obviously, there's a lot of differences between here and over there, but what are kind of the similarities that you can take back with you to help you here?
Not sure similarities necessarily that I can take back, but it made me take back a sense of being different. Like it's no reason to make an excuse that you can't do something. Like I can't do this because it's raining. I can't do it. I can't go to class, or I can't go to workhouse because I'm tired or something like that. It just really gave me that perspective of like it's no reason to make an excuse to do anything. You do anything. Like if those people can do anything with very limited resources, and I have abundance of things just at my fingertips that I can use, there's no excuse in life like for me to do anything. And honestly, it gives you a sense that you can do more than what I've been doing, so you can always do more, which that's what was the main takeaway for me. Like I can't make any excuses, honestly.
Something that I talked about in one of our team huddles, like one of those nights, is a really powerful thing that I took away from the trip is that even though the living conditions, no matter if you get 3 meals a day or you get 1 meal every week, nobody is better than somebody else just because of their living conditions, anything. Like we're all equal, and they treated everybody just as equal, no matter if they lived in Cora or they lived on the countryside, or they were a boy that was sent 6 hours north out east to become a shoeshine boy without his parents. They look at everybody as family, and they treat everybody accordingly. And if you need help, they're there to help you out. If you just need a hug, they're there to hug you. And it just really showed me that there's no difference, and there's no reason for people to treat anybody as their lesser, because they put their pants on one leg at a time just like you do every single day, and they eat just like you do every single day, and they work just like you do every single day. So there's no sense in treating them any different.
Landon and Calvin, you both mentioned that they all had smiles. Did you ask them how they, being living next to a dump, having to walk, living in those conditions, how they were always joyous?
I think a lot of it for them was their faith. It was a very prominent thing over there. Was they had Orthodox Christians and they had Muslims, right? And they all believed that was their plan by God, and that there was always better days in the waiting if they believed. And so that resonated with me because I'm very strong about my faith, and to see a whole country that was so prominent in their faith that they could believe that was, that they believe that everything is happening for a reason, and always have belief that that's going to get better. And like the kid that Calvin had, he was an amazing little boy, and I literally swear to this day that you could have probably slapped that kid across the face and he still would have smiled at you. Like he was just always had joy on his face, and always just grateful for every little thing, whether it be just he got to drink a Coke or he just got some popcorn. No matter what it was, he was grateful for it. Even the candy, they love candy. They would flog you for some candy.
So now that y'all are back and everything, is it going to be tough kind of flipping the switch and going back into workouts, going back into that grind?
I think it'll be easy. Seeing that kind of makes you work that much harder. I can imagine giving one of them the opportunity we have to go work out every day and have the opportunity to go to school and get a degree for free. So, I mean, just try to put myself in their shoes. The opportunity we're blessed with just drives me that much harder to go work out and go try to be great.
I agree. Also, they built like a makeshift like weight room over there, which I thought was really powerful. So it was honestly, I couldn't honestly wait to get back, because when I got back and I started working out, like, with a newfound perspective, it gave you just a new kind of drive to kind of work out, and just do different, go a little harder, give a little extra. So it kind of made the transition a little easier. And honestly, we all have like pieces of Ethiopia that we still have. Like, got a bracelet I usually wear every day. I took it off for this because we got weight room. But yeah, I wear it every day. Someone, like when I look at my wrist, I can kind of just see it. Just something like over here, I could be driving and or like hear someone watching TV. I'll just see something and it give me a flashback to where I was. So honestly, it's something that will be with me forever, and they will remember us forever. So some of the guys that have went before, they still remember them. So like they would say their names and just different stuff like that. So honestly, it always have a little piece of me. So.
Like Landon, you were talking about how the little kids wanted you to pick them up, and then you talked about the tattoos that you guys have. What did you talk about that?
So up on the feeding program on Encanto Mountain, Calvin and Boogie made the mistake of all these little kids getting around us and picking them up into the air. And then every single 315 kids there wanted to be picked up and swung around. And if one got it once, the other one wanted to do it twice. And so that was really cool just to see that something like that could make them like that happy. So we just had to start being like, no, we can't pick y'all up anymore. Like, y'all gotta disperse. But they loved like their tattoos, and there was a girl that had a marker there, and she even like completely drew her arm up to try to match their tattoos. And that was really, really funny to see, and really cool that they just looked up to us like idols. And even though we're just normal guys there, just to try to make a difference and be able to give back to them a little bit.